The time is 7:31. I thank all of you for coming out this evening. I will call this regular scheduled meeting of the mayor and council, regular scheduled meeting and public hearing of the mayor and council to order. Today is Monday, January 27th, 2014. All members of the mayor and council are present. First thing, we have our invocation. I'll put him on the spot. Is former councilman Mike Sabag. Did I just see him walk in? Will you lead us in tonight's invocation?
Let's bow our heads and pray. Our Heavenly Jesus, we thank you for all what you do for us. We thank you for the gift that you've given us. We ask you, Lord, tonight to be with us and give us the heavenly wisdom that you're capable of giving every one of us here today. Please be with the council tonight as they take on city business. Please give them the wisdom to act upon it. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen.
Now for tonight's announcements. On January 28th, the Planning Commission meeting for tomorrow night has been canceled. On February 4th, we will have a Snellville Days meeting at the Betty McMichael Room in Briscoe Park, and that meeting is 6 o'clock. On February 7th, we'll have a blood drive here at City Hall from 1:38 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. in the community room. To learn more about blood donation opportunities, visit www.redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. On February 9th, you can watch a rebroadcast of this meeting on Comcast Channel 25 at 6:30 p.m. February 10th will be our next regular scheduled council meeting. We'll have a 6:30 p.m. work session and a 7:30 p.m. meeting. On February 11th, we'll have a Board of Appeals meeting, a 7 p.m. work session, and 7:30 p.m. meeting here at City Hall. And on February 17th, our Snellville Arts Commission will meet at 5 p.m. in the community room here at Snellville City Hall. We now have the pledge to the flag. Can I ask the Snellville police officers if they'll come forward and lead us in the pledge? Thank you, officers. If you if you want to stay right up towards the front, I apologize. Under ceremonial matters, we have 2 certificates of commendation to present to these officers. We have Officer Scott Hermel and Officer Dennis Peters. Both of them were involved in the solving of the murder of Domingo Alfredo Espinal. Is that close to being correct? And that was back in November of 2007. And so both of these officers are being presented with a certificate of commendation for their involvement in solving that murder. Thank you for your fine work and for being great ambassadors to our city.
Thanks, guys.
And officers, before the meeting, I told you I was unable to sign that. That was not because I don't support the award or your service, but because that was other issues going on in our city. So thank you both for your service, and we do support everything you do for us. Now we have Resolution 2014-02, recognition of the Snellville Public Works Department upon Keep Georgia Beautiful Distinguished Service Award. And it says, whereas recycling protects the environment, conserves precious energy, saves water, conserves valuable natural resources, reduces landfill needs, and has a positive impact on the environment. Whereas the Snellville Recycling Center's staff strives to encourage good environmental stewardship by our citizens by making recycling convenient and pleasurable, and they work hard to look at all avenues to increase recyclable goods. Whereas the Keep Georgia Beautiful Foundation recognizes the outstanding contributions to protect and preserve the environment of Georgia and our community by awarding the Public Works Department Recycling Center the Distinguished Service Award for third place in the state of Georgia. Whereas the city of Snellville encourages its residents to do more to reduce and recycle waste. Now therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council of the city of Snellville, where everybody's proud to be somebody, along with the citizens of Snellville, wish to recognize the Public Works Department's Recycling Center for their continued recycling efforts. Resolved this 27th day of January 2014. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2014-02?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Councilman Emanuel. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Kraus. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. I believe we have with us tonight the Recycling Center staff. If they'd come forward to accept the resolution. If you haven't been to our Recycling Center, it's there next to Briscoe Park, and it is a jewel of the city, part of the vision of former Mayor Oberholzer, and it's a great asset for our citizens, and you do an excellent job there, gentlemen. We now have we now have presentation of the donation to the K-9 Fund by the teenagers. Is Ms. Creasy and Ms. Fuller present? For those that don't know, the Teenagers is a group of senior citizens over at the Senior Center, and they've raised money to give to our K-9 unit. So thank you, ladies, for all of your work for that, and thank you to our K-9 department. We now have the minutes from the January 13th, 2014 Business and Public Hearing Meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to approve with a note. It was stated incorrectly. Didn't have an opportunity to point it out at that time. The parliamentarian of the city is the city attorney. That's section 2-82 of the code. That was misrepresented in the meeting last time. I'd just like to get that on the record. Motion to approve otherwise.
Okay, there is a motion with that amendment. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, the minutes stand approved. We have no invited guests tonight. Now for our committee and department reports. Giving us a department report is Buddy Scott, Chairman of the Downtown Development Authority. Mr. Scott.
Mayor, Council, good evening. The DDA, the Downtown Development Authority, has been pretty busy. I have a few slides that you're gonna have show up, and unfortunately you guys can't see all of this, so I'm gonna read some of it to you. But the first thing you're gonna notice is that in the spirit of the city unity, the DDA has not only adopted the official city colors, but we're actually using them today. So this is their new logo or new color scheme. The Downtown Development Authority for quite a few years has been more of a reactionary authority versus a proactive authority. This has recently changed, and it changed as of last December, where we actually held our first ever, as far as I know, retreat. We actually invited a guest facilitator, Jim O'Brien, and we want to thank him for his outstanding work, actually maneuvering us through a vision statement, a mission statement, and actually a list of initiatives for short-term, mid-term, and long-term. The initiatives that the DDA has agreed to that we're going to actually take on proactively, and some of these were brought to us, and some of these we actually thought of ourselves based on discussions with the citizens. The first one is the Wisteria Property RFI. This is in process right now, and for those of you who don't know what the RFI is, or the Wisteria is, it's the Bridge to Nowhere. We actually own that, the DDA does, and we're actually looking at ideas of what to do with it. And the RFI that's out today is due back February 14th. I believe that's right, Mr. Sanders, right? Right. The second one is the Master Branding and Wayfinding Signage Study RFQ. I actually had to read that because it's a long name. but this was actually brought to us. We kind of picked it up from the shops on Snellville. This was an idea that they came up with. That the group of merchants, that they actually wanted some signage that actually welcomed people to Snellville and actually welcomed them to shop in Snellville. So what the DDA has done is expanded it. We actually are going to be sending out an RFQ, and the Q part is not, it is actually means for qualification. We're actually not looking for bids today. We're looking for those who are qualified to actually work with us. The type of signs we're actually looking to include in the study, these are what's included but not limited to, depending on what the chosen vendor is the city entry point welcome monument signage, which there may be 4 or 5, permanent city event signage system, a city district branding signage, city attraction signage, cross street signage, business directional signage and kiosks, commercial property for sale and lease signage, commercial empty storefront in window signage and murals, and CFI directional signage. So that if all of this is implemented, no matter where you turn in Snellville, you're going to see Snellville's brand. Again, the RFI is due to be sent out this week. John Davis is going to be managing the distribution of that, as well as you can actually download the RFQ on SnellvilleDDA.com. And again, the goal is of the DDA is we want to fund this study. Once the study is actually implemented and actually have a finding, we actually want to deliver the first project through DDA funding. Okay. The next project is the CFI. For those who don't know what CFI stands for, it's Continuous Flow Interchange or Intersection. That is what's going to go on at 78 and 124. And why is the DDA involved in that? Because there's quite a few areas with the CFI that is coming, that if we actually aren't proactive and work with the city today and work with the state today, we're going to get something that's less than what the city deserves. Right. The areas that the DDA has chosen to work on is directional signage. We talked about that before. Currently, most CFIs have interstate green signage, and we believe that doesn't appeal to the city very well. So we want to change that. Detention ponds. There's going to be quite a few detention ponds with the CFI, and we want to make sure that it actually is beautified where it actually is, either is used as a park, a pond, or something that actually is more than just a hole in the ground. Okay. The next one is the UGA Design Area Growth Study. And this is actually taking a look at a past view, a present view, and a future view of the demographics of Snellville, where the growth in the UGA and University of Georgia's mind should be. And that study we actually commissioned a few months ago with the URA, and the findings are actually going to be given to us on February 20th. The next one is the existing Snellville Merchant Outreach Program. This is something that is a DDA initiated project. It is actually to help train and actually educate the merchants what the DDA is. Most people really don't know what a Downtown Development Authority is, what we can do, what our powers are, and how how creative we can be with merchants to either retain them, help them grow, help them beautify their facilities, or actually attract new business. And again, the next one is the new business merchant acquisition marketing program. We're actually going to create a program where we're actually going to work with the economic development group in the city of Snellville, which we've kind of already been doing, but we're going to formalize that where we actually are going to be aggressively attracting new business in the city of Snellville. And the next is Shop Snellville marketing program. We have a ton of retail space or retail business going on in Snellville. And we want to make sure that we can actually get the word out regionally through print, TV, and radio. Again, we talked about the CFI support. And the last one is the incubator facility partnership with the Snellville Entrepreneurial Council. And what this is, it's really where the Entrepreneurial Council are doing a great job in mentoring and actually creating businesses and actually mentoring those through the process. What we want to help them with is help them actually create that brick and mortar component so that they can actually truly have an incubator system that actually takes someone from idea to graduation where they actually are running their own business without any help at all. And we actually started that process a few months ago with the negotiation of suite space at Fountain Square Business Center. Okay. And the last slide I have is one of our goals of the DDA was that we're not an island, we're not by ourselves. We're not an entity just going, hog wild with what we want to do, but we're actually working with the citizens. In fact, our retreat was attended. It was open. It was invited. Welcome to all to attend, and those who attended were welcome to actually participate, and they participated as the directors did. So I want to thank all those who actually participated in our retreat. But we want to foster a positive atmosphere of cross-functional cooperation and unity, and for the last quarter, these groups you see up there, the URA, STAD, SAC, which is the Snellville Arts Commission, the planning group, the Entrepreneurial Council, and the shops on Snellville, we've actually engaged them, or they've engaged us, and we've worked together on many projects together. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. I want to thank you and the DDA board for your work. It's great to see these color combination and you incorporating that. It's also great to see the DDA actually getting involved and taking the initiative to do these projects for a long time. We weren't as active as we could have been with the DDA, so I appreciate your leadership on this and the projects you've undertaken.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Scott?
I do. To go along with that, I've been a member of the DDA, the council's representative of the DDA since 2010 when Mayor Oberholzer appointed me. And I can honestly say, buddy, that you have gotten more done since November. I know you were there a little bit longer, but when really kicked it off in November, you've done more for the DDA in November than has been done in the previous 3 years that I was a member, and you were members of that committee before you took over the helm of it. And I really want to compliment you on that. You have brought that. It is now a viable part of the city, and the way you have integrated your group in with the other groups is fascinating to watch, and it's enlightening and enheartening to see that that's going to really go on that way. And I commend you for it, and a great job. And I want you to know that anything that this council can help you with, you just step up to that podium and let us know what you need.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you.
We now have a SPLOST report from former Mayor Jerry Oberholzer. Mayor, before we begin, can you explain to the citizens what your role is with SPLOST?
Oh, I'm in charge of bringing all the money to Snellville. No. Actually, when the citizens, before the 2013 SPLOST was approved, there was a citizens committee set up that was to basically go back and look at the allocations of the approximately $200 million that was set aside by the county for transportation projects. Our first goal before the thing was to actually divide that up between the different categories, public safety, school safety and stuff, and that's something that we did. And the goal was if the SPLOST was to pass, then we would come back as a citizens project selection committee and actually look at projects. This is the first time that SPLOST has been done that way in Gwinnett County in the 20 years it's been going on. With the approval of the voters here in Gwinnett County, we reconvened, and we've basically, since December, we've been going through different categories. We've had basically, we have meetings that are open to the public. Our next meeting, for anybody who really cares, will be this Wednesday, the 29th, up at the Justice Administration Building at 6 o'clock. The format is basically we take public comments, then we go into our committees. We get a staff briefing on projects, and then we usually have a vote or two, and then we open up public comments again. We've handled the sort of mundane things like bridge expansions, and I would point out to you, the city manager included it, to give you an idea of, we allocated $30 million for bridges, and as you can see, the majority of those bridges are in the 3rd District, which I represent, which is Snellville. I like to say I was responsible for it, but that's just really, we have old infrastructure in our part of the county. Basically, we voted on those project lists, and that's been approved. Now, all projects will go to a final vote by the commission itself, but this is the way we can make our recommendations. We had approximately $30 million. Just would point out real quickly, 2 bridges that are really important to us are on Pinehurst and Springdale. I don't know if you ever drove it. Those are structurally inadequate, and we set aside about $30 million for that. The other one that we have voted on and approved is the school safety projects. We set aside approximately $15 million for that, and these are projects where schools have asked the county to go back anywhere from queuing, widening. They're mainly addressed as safety projects. I will point out that when we did vote on this list, we were able to include approximately 600 feet of sidewalk along Skyland Drive at South Gwinnett High School. Working with the city manager, we had approached them about going sidewalk all the way down to Springdale, but working with the schools and the allocations, we were at least able to get 600 feet, which I think is basically on the west side of Skyland, come in there and add sidewalk, curb and gutter drainage, and sidewalk to help us make that happen. There were other projects. Like I said before, we set $15 million aside, and we approved that list at our last meeting. Actually, at our other meeting, we looked at were what we call safety projects, road alignment safety projects. There was one project on there. It is the parallel road to US 78 from Walton Court to Hewitt. That reason that was put on there was there's about $7 million of federal money that was earmarked by when we got the 78 safety project, the medium project. $7 million was set aside for that. What the staff has recommended is that we allocate $2 million to actually make that work. My comment to the staff was that I think that's a good project, but before I'm sold on that, I believe there's other important projects on the 78 corridor, mainly our CFI, that doesn't make any sense if we're not going to fund that to build this. So hopefully when we get to that, that'll be included. Now that list came before us. We will meet again, like I said, on Wednesday night to vote on that, and then we'll go into the major projects. There are other categories, major projects, major intersections, and also I think what everyone's near and dear to us is we set aside $27 million for pedestrian safety, which is sidewalk projects. And that's where we've talked about with the manager, the Oak Road multi-use trail is slated to do that. Hopefully that project will be there. One thing I did want to say is there is a $25 million set aside that was in negotiations for city county joint projects. And we were notified that those projects will come before us as a Citizens Advisory Committee for our vote and selection on that. I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars of projects there are, but we'll review that. It's an ongoing process. I will hopefully be able to report to you on a monthly basis where we stand on that. Like I said, our next meeting is on Wednesday. You're all welcome to come, drink a lot of coffee, drink a lot of Cokes, because it does get kind of dry. Only engineers like myself enjoy it. So I do want to thank again the citizens and the mayor and the council for allowing me to do this important task for the citizens of not only Snellville, but of the 3rd District.
Thank you, Mayor. Does anybody have any questions for Mayor Oberholzer? Okay. Thank you, and thank you for
Thank you very
serving on
much,
this
Mayor.
committee. We now have a report by Butch Sanders.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to update everybody on a few projects that are ongoing in the city. It's nice to have a large crowd to update here tonight. I want to piggyback a little bit on what Mr. Scott and Mayor Oberholzer had to say about the CFI. We're at the point in the CFI now where we're looking at more specific design areas. I think Buddy mentioned landscaping and detention ponds. Georgia DOT, in working with them, I think they're going to be very cooperative in allowing us to upgrade the landscaping and control the detention areas as far as the design's concerned, putting them in the right places as far as the city is looking at it. Because the CFI project is something that is going to define our community and our main intersection for the next 30 to 50 years. It's important that we have input initially and get control of that. We've had several meetings with concerned property owners. And the next thing, the one thing that we're working on right now is the type of mast arms, or mast arms versus wires hanging in the air for signalization and signage. We, of course, would like to see nice engineered mast arms. It's much cleaner. It's a much better engineered look. And since they're going to be there for that long, that's what we really are pushing for. Had a chance to talk with Gwinnett DOT. They'll be the ones responsible for the maintenance of those mast arms. In working with Mr. Brooks in the CID, Gwinnett DOT basically said, well, yeah, we're with you. We want to see mast arms too. It all depends on what GDOT will approve. So we're working on setting up a meeting with GDOT Engineering and Construction to see if we can push them a little bit and get their approval on the mast arms for that intersection. We also have a couple other things. Just want to mention for people who may be coming to City Hall in the next few days, the public, council, we're working on an inclement weather policy. We've been lucky we've dodged weather for so long. Now with the snowfall coming in, we're kind of setting things up where there will be an announcement by 6 o'clock on the morning of any inclement weather about whether we'll be open, what time we'll be open. We'll be on WSB Storm Watch. Unfortunately, our new PIO, I've told him he'll get a call at 5:45 on those mornings. We'll post the information on Facebook, Twitter, and our website, so everybody will know what we're doing. One thing I didn't put in that memo to department heads is that I'm very conservative in this area. Unless it looks like Boston out there, we're probably going to be working. So you'll hear more about that. Just a quick update on the LCI project. GDOT also has that. They have a new treasurer at GDOT. He's looking at all contracts, and that's why their approval of our agreement has been held up. Our project manager pushes very hard to get that done, but that is the cause for the delay there. And finally, I see Kirk Bice, who is the chairman of our Snellville Arts Commission, in the audience. They have worked very hard, just like the DDA. And one of their projects, which I hope goes forward, we're also working for approval on that, is a mural project. This would be along the New London Plaza wall on 78, a sponge painted granite wall with a black and gold "Welcome to Snellville" sign. Public art is something that I think everybody on the mayor and council support. I think the public wants to see it, and this would be a great first start. Kirk and his group is working on a lot of things, but here's a chance that with DOT approval we can move forward on. So you'll be hearing more about that over the course of the next few weeks. That's all I have, Mayor.
Bless you. Moving on to old business.